guys? My name is Shane, and this is sWs, Shootin with Shane. My guest today is Aacw professional wrestler, the one and only Lucha Creato.
What's going up, guys?
Brother, how you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Oh, pretty good, man. Thanks for making the drive and coming down, man. I definitely appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for inviting me.
Let's get right into this. So we have a little tradition here, obviously. Shots are poured. Before we take this shot, though, I want to let us hear it really quick. I know when you and I started talking about you coming on the show, obviously you wear a mask.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get into that. But with that being said, you had told me that you'd never taken a shot out of your mask before.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have to lift it up. So, thanks to Pro Wrestling Tees and Pro Wrestling Crate, I got a little thing that I was going to do with you. Take that down. I've never taken a shot out of a mask either.
Oh.
So, I figured if you were going to try it for the first time, then I will try it with you.
Hey. First time for everything, right?
I know.
I am digging the mask, though.
Thank you. Join the Dark Order. Now, we're going to see how this goes. So, brother, thanks for being on the show, man. I definitely appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Hey, it worked.
It did.
It worked. But,
Is that Southern Comfort?
it is Southern Comfort.
Ooh.
But, yes. Anyway, man, like I said, just something fun I wanted to do with you, man, because I thought it was cool that you wanted to, you didn't want to take the mask off, man. So I want to go right into the mask. Let's talk about this mask. Obviously the mask. When did it start? Why did it start? And how did it come about, man?
So the mask with me or just the mask in general for all luchadors?
The mask with you.
So, I wear it to respect the luchador culture. I'm a big fan of the luchador culture. The mask basically symbolizes the identity. Most luchadors, when they pass, they get buried with their mask.
Okay.
And
So going back into the heritage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now as far as when did it start, were you that guy, man, that was just like, you know what? I want to be a pro wrestler. I'm going to wear a mask. Or was it something where you started, you didn't have the mask, and then you developed the mask?
So, the very first match I ever did, I needed a gimmick.
Okay.
So, I had a mask laying around, and I put it on, and boom. And then I
Comfortable in the mask?
Oh yeah, it's definitely harder training with the mask than...
I was going to ask, is...
or not training, but wrestling with the mask.
Wrestling with the mask. Now, I know you brought up training. Now, I know you and I were sitting on my couch earlier and you talked about how you do train sometimes in the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And where I was going to go with that was, is it easier with the mask as far as being the guy you want to be? Because is it easier hiding, not hiding behind the mask, but is it easier to put a mask on and be someone else? Or is it harder to put the mask on because you've got to be that person?
For me, it is much, much easier.
Okay.
Just, there's things I do, like comedy-wise, that me without the mask would be so afraid to do.
Okay.
But with the mask, I can be as goofy as I want. I ain't gonna get judged.
And you do wear the mask all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the handful of shows that I've been to in the last year, every time I've seen you in the mask, I've only actually seen you twice now without the mask.
Mm-hmm.
The night that we were hanging out when everybody had left.
Yeah.
And then today, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I go back and I look at you with the mask, I know you and I were talking down here earlier before we started filming. I love the fact that when I first saw you, I was like, okay, here's this character. Let's see where this character goes. I saw you in blue trunks, blue trunks and a t-shirt, and then that actual mask there.
Mm-hmm.
I know we were talking about your tights earlier, how you transitioned into tights, and you transitioned into a new mask.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I asked you earlier, off camera, I ask you again now, what's the importance of that mask there?
So, this mask...
Because, I mean, that's the one you brought.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the importance of that one?
So this mask has the design of a very good rock group and one of my favorites, the first one I've ever heard when I was probably a toddler.
Okay.
Kiss. It's got Gene Simmons makeup design.
Okay.
And this is probably my second favorite mask.
So, big Kiss fan then, because it's kind of designed after
Oh,
Gene
yeah.
Simmons? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, the black and red mask that I brought up earlier, what's the importance of that one?
So,
obviously different design.
different design.
Yeah.
It's got my name on it.
Okay.
And
Where's the name at?
So,
I haven't seen the name.
So on the other mask, the name is actually, I got part of it going this way,
Okay.
and then part of it going this way.
Okay. Right on.
So it's like on the back almost.
Okay. So the importance of the red and black mask compared to the Gene Simmons inspired mask, what's the difference with that one?
Just that, it's custom made, or custom, the mask wasn't custom made, but the name and everything on it, it was custom for myself.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Okay, so that mask was made for you specifically.
Basically.
Okay.
I got the mask off Amazon, and then the design it was made.
Now
from
speaking
another guy.
Speaking on the mask, really quick again, want to go to because we were talking about the red and black mask and the significance of that mask. You joined a tag team with fellow AACW professional wrestler Adam Rain. I watched the kid's first pro match, became a fan. I know sitting down here earlier, I know you and I were discussing being tag team guys. We like tag team wrestling. We were talking about our top 3 tag teams, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I want to go back to a date, and that date is September 18th. AACW Arena. The Gateway lost what would become their last match as a tag team to the Bulletproof Posse. Now, the Bulletproof Posse said that they were going to execute the Gateway, and when I watched the match, and obviously you guys did lose, I didn't expect the heel turn from Adam Rain. So my question, man, September 18th, the Gateway's last match, what was that feeling like? I mean, he picked you up, he helped you up, and then, man, he beat you down. So what's your thoughts, man, as far as September 18th, last Gateway match, man?
You see, I didn't see it coming either. Adam Rain was supposed to be like a brother to me. We were a team. We were eventually going to go for the championships. But he had other plans. It hurt a lot. It hurt big time. But now, I'm going to put him to the back. Because I feel like my business is done with him.
Okay, yeah.
I pinned him in the 5-on-5 elimination match. I eliminated him.
Yeah, which I wanted to get into that too, so since you brought it up, let's go ahead and skip forward November 13th. AACW Thanksgiving Beatings.
Fun show.
I couldn't be there,
show.
but I did watch the live stream, so thank you to Gonzo's Wrestling Room / Sports Room for putting that on. Thanks, man, brother. Appreciate that. But November 13th, AACW Thanksgiving Beatings, you brought up the 5-on-5 match. To me, the Fans Bring the Weapons will always be the match of matches for me thus far.
That was an awesome match.
But the 5-on-5, oh, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, because you guys went old school Survivor Series.
Yeah,
that's
we
a
did.
big deal, man. You are teamed with the tag team champions.
Mm-hmm.
You eliminated Adam.
Yes, I did.
You were eliminated shortly after, but the fact of the matter is this. He turned on you, you got your revenge. Is that what it was? Was it revenge? Do you feel satisfied? I know you mentioned, hey, it's time to move on from this now.
Mm-hmm.
Revenge?
So, I did have a little help with Christian Cash. We hit a double team move. on him to eliminate him. Now, I'm
But
the
you
one.
got the pin.
I'm the one that got the pin. I symbolize that as not only eliminating him out of the match, but also eliminating him from my life.
Okay.
Now, if it comes down to it and we meet up again one-on-one, I would love to beat him one-on-one.
Okay. Challenge?
Challenge.
Adam Rain?
But not
Challenge.
necessarily anytime soon, unless you want to. But what I'm saying is, if we're ever paired off one-on-one again, I'm going to beat him.
Okay. So you're just letting me know right now.
Yep.
Like, I've already put you down. Now I'm going to hammer that final nail in the coffin.
Exactly.
Because I do feel like you did put him down.
Mm-hmm.
You two, now that was as far as my knowledge goes, that was the first time you guys were face to face since the heel turn, correct?
So we did have a match in October, him and I, and he did cheat. I mean, technically, not happy about how I won. Technically, I won, but he was also disqualified.
Okay.
He couldn't put me down himself, so he had to go about other ways to beat me, which was a low blow, as well as using his staff, his little stick thing. Not sure if that's the right word or not.
Sure.
But so, when it comes down to it, let's see how he is without that staff.
Okay. So are you looking at it as, again, is it a challenge to Adam Rain?
It's a challenge to him whenever he wants to. Whenever he wants to get in the ring with me. Until then, on to bigger, better things.
Now, you want to talk about bigger and better things. I want to ask you this. Obviously, Aacw Pro Wrestler. Tag titles obviously were brought up. As of right now, you're a singles competitor again, so that's kind of out of the question as of right now. My buddy, Damian DeVille.
Oh,
Too
yeah.
sweet, good brother. Any plans on a possible run for the Excellence Championship, World's Championship? Where's Creato at as far as, hey, this is where I'm at now, and this is where I want to go? Where you want to go, man?
So it's funny you ask that, seeing as DeVille is one of my favorite opponents.
Okay.
He's a good dude as well. I would love to have a match against him again.
Okay.
But this time, I would love for it to be for that EEC championship.
Okay.
Win or lose, I'd like to win.
If you had a Pacific style of match, knowing DeVille's style, what would be if you were facing DeVille? Let's say you're facing DeVille for the Excellence Championship. What's your match, man?
Just a normal traditional wrestling
You want a
match.
traditional match?
Yep.
All right, let's go world title.
World title.
You're in the big main event. You're in the World's Championship match. This is your opportunity. Who you facing? Who would you like to be the champion to take it off of? And what style of match would you want it to be, man?
Well, right now Rick Vidal's the champion, and I do know Rick Vidal pretty well. I would love a heavyweight championship match against Vidal at some point in time.
Okay.
Honestly, I'd love for it as well to be a traditional wrestling match.
Okay.
I mean, I know with him being a bad guy, he's not going to fight fairly. So I definitely got to be on the lookout for that if it ever comes time for it.
So it'd be like the whole... Is winning the world title like the whole like Rocky Balboa scenario for you as far as like... Because I know you said traditional, hey, obviously Rick Vidal's going to cheat, whatever. Is it like underdog overcomes? Are you an underdog, man? Do you consider yourself an underdog?
I am an underdog.
But isn't that an awesome feeling, though?
Yeah, it is.
Because, see, I remember back in the day when people called themselves underdogs, it was almost like an insult to that person. Nowadays, it's like, to me, the underdogs, we're the ones that succeed.
Oh, yeah. We're the ones that have to
You have something to prove. And when you have something to prove, you're a dangerous individual.
Exactly.
When you can set your mind frame to be like, I'm better than this, and I'm going to be better than this, and each day I'm going to do this, and do this, and do this.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, again, underdog story, would that be your underdog story? Would that be La Lucha Creato's underdog story to beat Rick Vidal 1, 2, 3, traditional match, your hand is raised, the World's Championship is given to you?
Oh,
What's that moment for you?
That would feel awesome. That'd be a great
Packed
feeling.
house.
Oh man, I love being in a venue that is packed.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. It gives me more drive to succeed.
Feed off the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I definitely feed off the crowd, especially when they're cheering for me.
And about to say, yeah, I've heard chants.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've started a couple myself.
Mm-hmm.
What's that feel like, man? I mean, I know me being a former musician and having people, cheer you after a song, that makes you feel good, makes you want to be better. So is that the same feeling as far as like when you're in that squared circle between those three ropes, man? Like, and you hear a Creato chant going. What's your thoughts on that?
It feels amazing. Not gonna lie, the very first time I ever got a Creato chant and got the crowd loving me, I almost cried.
Yeah.
I almost cried.
So just straight raw emotion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's real, people. I mean, not just what it is, I mean, that's real life, man, because that, you're doing good, right?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, people don't understand that, like, when it comes to pro wrestling. It's easy to be a bad guy and make people hate you. But it is so much harder to be a good guy and make people love you.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And I guess Egon Spangler is going to join us today.
We got a guest.
So, you need to go, buddy, because you're not like Zoom. You mess stuff up, so goodbye now. But, that's what I love about this. That's what I love about this show. But yeah, man, going back to that whole, that moment, man, and winning the world's title, what's your top 3 world title wins that when you watched that said person, man or woman, win, what was that moment where you're like, oh, yes, like that moment, like for me, like for example, like when Shawn Michaels won the world title off Bret Hart, WrestleMania 12, that was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
What is your top 3 moments when that guy won the world's championship and you were like, man, I can live through this moment or live in this moment through that guy? Like what's that moment for you, man?
My top 3 would have to be...
Cheers, Terry.
Would have to be Rey Mysterio's WrestleMania win with the World Championship. I'm a big-time Rey Mysterio fan.
That was Batista?
Rey Mysterio. Batista's one of them.
But who did Mysterio win the title off of?
I see what you're asking. I believe that was
Batista. Was it Batista? Okay, see, I was wondering if it was Batista, because I know they had their little thing. But, okay, so now would Rey be your number 1?
Rey would be my number 1.
Number 2?
Another underdog overcoming.
Okay.
Beating a monster of a wrestler. Batista.
For sure.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Like you and I said earlier, I'm not particularly a Batista guy, but for what he did in the ring and then the whole, smallest, or what was his whole, what was race thing? Biggest little man or something like that. Yeah, that was cool, whatever. So,
another one would have to be...
2 would be...
So, 2 would be, I know you're not a Batista guy, but his WrestleMania 21...
Triple H.
Yep.
Yeah.
When he won the World Championship.
Yeah. Awesome feud. We were just talking about this before we filmed. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Okay, so 3.
Oh man, I gotta dig deep for that one.
So WrestleMania is kind of like where you're at. I've noticed, like because Rey WrestleMania, Batista WrestleMania. Okay, so 3rd.
Man, 3rd.
I mean that moment, man, where you're in it. You're in it, like that's your guy. Your guy just won it, man. Like.
So I'm not gonna lie. Daniel Bryan's biggest overcome. Not exactly. To be honest, I can't remember which WrestleMania it was, but it was where he went through everybody of the.
New formed evolution, pretty much. Is that what you're talking about?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Where he
triple threat match with Batista, Orton. And then went on to Hunter.
Exactly.
So again, underdog. And you know what I loved about now obviously always has been, in my opinion, Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon.
Amazing wrestler.
When that guy got in there in that triple threat match with Orton and Batista at Mania, my God, when they did the Batista Bomb RKO, As impressive as that was, the guy that, in my opinion, got it the worst, if you go back and watch the footage, was Orton.
Yeah.
He came right down on that monitor, and that's not like the flat screen computer monitors they have today. That was them old school, pressed up like this metal monitors, and they didn't rip the top off like you traditionally do or whatever. They just went through it. And Orton, you could just tell when he arched, he was like, man, that hurt. Like,
it hurt me just watching it.
Being hurt going into this topic, worst injury in pro wrestling? Because you've been doing it a while.
So I've only had one bad injury, and I wrestled in October against Adam Rain. Injured, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit injured. Didn't realize how bad it was. I eventually learned that it was a severely strained neck. So I had to take some time off, about 3-4 weeks. I was fully recovered by November's show, and that one was a tough one because there were times I couldn't even move my head.
Yeah.
It was awful.
So now, like wrestling on the injury, was nervous?
So,
because obviously, like you're injured, if you take a bump the wrong way or something like that, man, anything can happen, man. Like,
I definitely took a risk there. I made sure to try to get my neck feeling as good as I could. Not gonna lie, when that adrenaline hit, from coming out, seeing the crowd, seeing they react to me, I forgot all about my neck.
Yeah.
And
momentum kicked in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when Adam put me in the guillotine, choked me while on the ropes, that hurt like no other.
Okay.
Oh.
So is that kind of one of the moments where you're like, shit,
should I have done this?
I'm in it now? Like, was that kind of what it was?
Yeah. Yeah.
Switching gears, I want to go into first wrestling match you ever saw, man. Sit with your grandpa, your mom, your dad, your aunt, uncle, whatever, friend, whatever. First wrestling match you ever saw, man.
So my father was the person who got me into wrestling. We would always watch SmackDown and Raw in the living room together. It was Paul London and Billy Kidman versus Rey Mysterio and RVD on SmackDown.
Okay, right on.
And
I know we were talking about Kidman and London earlier, so okay.
And that match, I remember as a kid, I turned back to my dad. I was on the floor. He was in his chair. I said, "I'm gonna do this one day." He goes, "Okay." And all throughout my life, I've been doubted. All throughout school, I always talked about wrestling. It's what I knew. It's what I loved.
Yeah.
Everybody would make fun of me. Everybody was doubting me. Now I'm wrestling. Now who's the stupid one?
Right. Now going back to like high school or hell, let's even go back to middle school. I know obviously Damien DeVille, Ryan, him and David Underwood and Travis Bradley and we all had our own little group with Stephen Bull and Randy Lahr. Rest in peace, brother. We all miss you, man. But we all had our own little wrestling group, man. We had contracts and just like the full 9 yards. I've always felt like my brain was meant for two things: music and wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
And music and wrestling has always went hand in hand for me. Music goes deep in my family, and then pro wrestling obviously goes really deep in my family. My wife's into it, my kid's into it, my dad, all that good stuff. When it comes to like traditions like that, man, like to hear you talk about, your dad, got to sit down and watch this, and because that's kind of how my dad and I was. Like, first match I ever saw was Hogan and Warrior, title for title.
Oh.
I know I watched matches before that because I was a huge fan of WCW Saturday Night. So was my dad. But I can't really remember a match before Hogan and Warrior. And I went on record and said I never really was like a Hulkamaniac. I was more of a Macho Man Randy Savage guy. But I guess Hulkamaniac, maybe. I don't know. Like, Hogan was awesome, but to me, Hogan was the best when he was NWO.
Yeah, he really was.
I mean, completely reinvented himself. You know what I mean? So, I want to ask, I did have one question, man, that I want to ask you, and I like to ask this question because I love factions, and I know you and I were talking about factions earlier. I'm going to name some names, and I want you to put them in your top 5. So let's start with 5. DX, NWO, Bullet Club, Four Horsemen, Ministry of Darkness.
DX would totally be like my second or third.
Second or third? Okay.
Bullet Club.
Owns the wrestling world.
So they're
first. See, and everybody says that because, I mean, it's pro wrestling, man.
I mean, look at where anybody that was with the Bullet Club that got out of it, look at where they went. Like AJ Styles, Finn Balor,
Adam Cole,
Kenny Omega, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows.
Yeah.
They're names.
Yeah. They're huge.
They become household names. And I believe that it was because they were a part of the Bullet Club.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I've always said that when it came to Bullet Club, man, like, I've always went on record and said that there for a while, you know, doing music and stuff like that took a lot of my time. So I didn't get a chance to watch a lot of wrestling. And I kind of fell out. And then when I got back into some wrestling, I was like, man, this is a whole new world now. I don't know who half these people are, kind of thing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, man, that guy from Ring of Honor is now in WWE, or that guy from New Japan's in WWE, or whatever. And then I remember what really got me back into wrestling was Bullet Club, man. Because I kept seeing this, like I've said many times, I kept seeing this logo, and I'm like, man, that's a cool logo. What is that? And when I looked it up, Bullet Club, you know, they brought up these names, and I'm like, well, I know half of them, and some of them I don't know, but I'm going to check those guys out, or those girls out, or whatever, you know? And, dude, that just turned into this whole, like, well, damn, AJ's in WWE. He was Bullet Club, you know? Finn Balor's over there, you know? Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows were over there at the time. And it's Doc Gallows, not Luke Gallows. I hate that shit. But
that was my bad too.
I hate that. But yeah, man. Going back to the factions.
So
Four Horsemen.
Yes, Four Horsemen would be second. Third would be DX. Fourth would be the Brood.
Okay.
With Gangrel, Edge, and Christian.
Okay. Yeah. Bloodbath, man.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, dude, that was cool, man. You just never seen nothing like that before. Came up in the Ring of Fire, badass, dude, badass group.
Fifth would have to be the Ministry of Darkness. I love the Ministry of Darkness, but
so least favorite faction on the 5 then. Yeah. So Viscera, all those guys, Midian, all them guys, just wasn't your thing at that time. It was more like,
see, at the time, the only wrestler I really liked out of that faction was The Undertaker.
Okay. Devil character, too. To me, that was the best the Taker ever was.
Oh, yeah.
Ministry of Darkness, hell, even the corporate ministry was awesome. You know what I mean? When they feuded, or not feuded, but when they combined with the McMahons and feuded against Austin. Oh, man, that was awesome. I mean, those storylines were writing themselves back at that time.
For sure.
I know going back to storylines, I know we were talking earlier.
Real quick, if you don't mind me
asking.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
What about you? What would your top 5 be for factions?
Wow. You're the first person to ever ask me a question.
I had to ask it, man.
All right. Top 5 favorite factions? Oh, man. Number 1, Bullet Club. I mean, I'm sorry, but they run the wrestling world.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Amazing talent, all of them. Every one of those guys is pure talent. I mean, it's just a matter of time. So yeah, Bullet Club would definitely be number 1. NWO would be number 2. Not like all the members of the NWO, but like the original 6. To me, that's the NWO. Minus Scott Norton. Scott Norton was a fucking badass. And I thought Scott Norton was straight NWO.
For sure.
But yeah, NWO for 2. 3, man, I would have to go with Ministry of Darkness. I loved the Godwins. I thought Phineas was awesome. I loved Hank Godwin. I thought he was cool. But, man, Phineas was cool. And then when he became Midian. And then plus, I loved King Mabel and all that stuff. Men on a Mission. And then when he became Viscera, I thought that was badass. So I would say 3 would definitely be... And I loved Undertaker. Loved the feud with Austin, too. So 3 would definitely be Ministry of Darkness. 4, I gotta go DX, but not the DX that everybody's like, oh, it's Triple H and 6. And no, it's not X-Pac. It, in my opinion, is 6.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I'll take 1, 2, 3 Kid over that.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? Or hell, Lightning Kid. But yeah, like I would definitely say DX, but my DX will always be Shawn Michaels, to me, the greatest wrestler of all time. Triple H, China, 9th one of the world, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Rude. That was
Okay.
DX to me.
Yeah.
Number 5. Oh man, I gotta go the Radicals, man.
Oh.
I thought the Radicals, they came in at a good time. Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn. I loved all those guys. I thought they were all ECW guys. They were really good. They were the wrestlers of WCW. But yeah, man, that would be my top 5 favorite.
That's pretty good
factions.
top
Like,
5.
I think that would, yeah, I gotta go Radicals for 5.
I have no arguments there.
I want to go back a little bit on this conversation. Let's go back to the 5-on-5 match, because I didn't get a chance, and I really want to know about this. I know you eliminated Adam Rain.
Mm-hmm.
You were eliminated a few moments later, and by a few moments, it was like 20 seconds later.
Yeah.
But in that moment, let's go back. Packed house, because like I said, I watched it on the live stream. It was a very packed house.
Crowd was wonderful.
Crowd was great, man. Oh, the crowd was into it. Crowd was awesome that night. You go to the back. Business done. Like, as far as I went out, I did what I did. Entertained the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel as far as getting eliminated, man? Like, I mean, like, you get this big pinfall to you. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're helping your team because you eliminate another person. But how did you feel, man, knowing that, like, you get this elimination, and then it's like, shit, now I'm out. Now I got to go to the back with the rest of the guys that got eliminated. Like, because I've always liked Survivor Series matches. But being that guy that gets eliminated, I mean, obviously you're going to get eliminated. You know what I mean? Anybody's going to. You can't be 5-on-5 forever. You know what I mean? But what's that feeling, man? Like, what's that feeling? Like, knowing you went out there, you gave it your all, you did what you did, you helped your team, but now, hey, I'm out, I got to go to the back.
The feeling wasn't...
Still supportive?
I was still very supportive of my team, but I was also kicking myself.
Okay.
I tried my best. I call him Maui.
Okay.
Kai.
Yeah.
I call him
The
Maui.
Hitman. The
He
gold
looks-
standard.
He looks...
And that's just too sweet right there.
He looks just like Maui from Moana. Have you noticed that? I've even heard in the crowd the song "You're Welcome." I've heard somebody trying to sing the "You're Welcome" song from Moana
During the match?
during any match that he's ever been a part of, whether it be in the ring or...
Because obviously the 5-5
On the
was debut,
Yeah.
so, okay.
And I thought that was pretty funny. But back to, we're gonna bring it back. It was a horrible feeling because I felt like I let my team down.
Okay.
But like you said, I did help out
Yeah.
by pinning another wrestler.
Elimination, man.
You know, I gave it my all against Maui, and it just wasn't enough. He was too strong, way too strong. He ended up, you know, I hit him with my back elbow, and I kicked him down, hit him with the hip attack. He basically popped right up after that hip attack. And I hit him with the stunner.
Yeah.
That didn't work. I went to go for a clothesline. He ducked. Full Nelson. Tried everything I could to get out of it.
Now, not to interrupt you, but controversial finish a little bit. As far as you two, was there a tap out? Because where I was looking, I didn't quite see a tap. Was it I quit? Was there like...
I went to sleep.
Okay, see, I was wondering because, I mean, I didn't see anything. All of a sudden it was like, well, we're going to call for that, and then he's out.
I'm not gonna lie.
But then...
he put me out.
But then he was eliminated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
I mean, that felt pretty good knowing that the person that eliminated me ended up getting eliminated as well.
Yeah. Moments later. You know what I mean? Now, let's go here. As far as your wrestling career, obviously you're AACW right now. Where'd you start at, man? I know you mentioned PWK to me earlier.
So
let's talk about PWK.
I've wrestled for PWK
And for those of who don't know, what's PWK?
Pro Wrestling King. It's ran by a gentleman by the name of Eric King.
Okay.
Wonderful dude. He's done everything right for me. So is Shane. Shane's done awesome.
Yep.
Shane's let me in. You know, he let me train in his building. But where I first started training was a company by the name of Evolution Wrestling. Or Evo for short. Promoter by the name of Anthony Barr. Seen one show January 2018, started training in February, and I never wrestled for the company, but well, I did wrestle for the company a few years later. Now that I think about it, it was a backyard. Well, not really a backyard.
Yeah.
It wasn't like backyarders or anything like that, but it was in his backyard for his grandson.
Did you get into the backyard thing, like you and your buddies? I know we were talking about it earlier, but it just never was a...
Never.
Yeah, just never really did it?
To be honest, I wrestled around with my brothers. You know, we'd set up, you know, we'd give each other gimmick names, and then, you know, we'd wrestle around.
Okay.
I'd always get my butt handed to me by my brother, but...
Older brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
About
older brothers do that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But backyard wrestling has never been my thing.
Really? Okay. So just not that guy that was like, this is where I started at. Like you said, you wrestled with your little brother. So you're in Evolution Wrestling. How did you get into AACW, man?
So there was a time where, while I was still training, I was a referee. Well, a while back,
I gotta ask, mask or no mask referee?
Not gonna lie, it was no mask.
Okay, okay. I had to ask. I was just curious because I know, you know, I get the whole mask thing.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm like, I wondered. I was like, because I know you brought up Excalibur earlier from AEW being commentary, you know, mask. So I wondered. Okay, but anyway, continue.
No, it was no mask. But well, about I think it was April. I got in contact with Shane. Shane gave me the opportunity to wrestle for him, and I wrestled Chad Cross for my first match there.
So Chad Cross was your first match.
Yes, sir. And it was a fun match. Chad Cross is a fun person to be up against.
Okay.
It was awesome.
What makes Chad fun as far as, because you said Chad's a fun guy to wrestle against?
So
Stiff?
Not stiff, but he knows you're there, or he lets you know you're there, and he's comical.
Okay.
I remember during the match.
Genuine guy too.
Oh yeah.
Genuine guy.
Oh yeah.
Loves the kids, and I think that's awesome.
There was a moment in the match, I didn't know what to think. He smacked me on the butt. I was like, wait, what? I didn't know what to think. Like, I was in shock. But, because I've never had that happen in a match before. But afterwards,
And this was Chad, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But, no, he's a genuine guy. Very, very, very funny.
Okay.
Very funny.
First match. Let's take people in the DeLorean. Let's go back in time here. First match, man. You're about to walk through that curtain.
My first...
What's going through your mind? How did you feel? Did you feel like you went out there and you gave it everything you had?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Was your first match everything you thought it was going to be, man?
So, in all honesty, it was.
Yeah.
My first ever match. Now I'd had mock shows that got the trainees ready. It was nothing like my first ever, live match. It was over in Rochester. We were doing it was a weeks long show for the 4-H fair. It was me versus Mitchell Taylor, which Mitchell Taylor, he's dirty. He cheats. He likes to use his money try getting things.
Okay.
And that's not right in professional wrestling. You can't buy a win. You shouldn't, at least.
$1 Million Man style stuff, right?
I guess so. But it was a very fun match. Me and Mitch Taylor. I was definitely very, very nervous going through that curtain. Crowd didn't know what to think.
New guy.
I tried to get in the crowd behind me. They didn't like me. They were booing me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, how'd that make you feel as far as, like, first pro wrestling match, man? Like,
And
I mean,
actually,
damn, you're trying to be that guy, and now you're getting booed, and it's
come to think about it, that was actually my second match. I apologize for that. That was my second match. My first match was the day before.
So the second match is where he's getting booed.
I got booed the second match and the first match.
Oh, so they just booed you right out, though. So they were just like, no, we're just not like this guy.
My first match was actually against Rick Vidal.
Okay.
Over in Rochester. Same place. However, I was actually the bad guy.
Okay.
So that's why they
spoke
booed.
briefly about that earlier, playing the face in the hill.
Mm-hmm. And then I tried being nice.
So Rick was the good guy, or
that was actually
Rick
the first
was
time.
face, or
That was the very first time I ever seen Rick face, to be honest.
really? See,
Yeah.
I've never seen the guy face.
Yeah, it was weird.
I know. We were talking earlier about tattoos. I do want to bring up one tattoo that I noticed you have on your hand. I know you and Rick both have it, and I know that's one of your closest friends. And I know you and I were talking, when you get a tattoo with your buddy, that's a brotherhood, and that's symbolism to a brotherhood. I know Terry and I are about to get a couple matching tattoos, and I know what that shit means.
Oh, yeah.
But the tattoo on your hand, on the web of your hand, Rick has it too. Let's talk about Vidal, man, as far as being your trainer right now and helping you out, you know, and picking his brain a little bit in the business. What's the influence that Rick's been on your career, maybe just in AACW? Because obviously, you know, your first couple matches, he was involved in that in some way or another. But let's talk about AACW, where you're at right now with Rick. Like, he's the world's champion.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's the guy, man. He's the blow-up king. Let's talk about Rick as far as you guys, where you at as far as training wise, man. I know you said you dropped some weight, you know, you're looking to, you know, build some muscle, stuff like that. So let's talk about it, man. Like, what's Rick done for your career as far as in the last, maybe, let's say 6 months?
So he's always giving me pointers every time, you know, I'm not happy with how I perform. He's like, you know, he gives me his critiques, which I always take because I love getting critiqued. And
makes you better.
Oh yeah, I'm all about constructive criticism.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, he's always like, let's go get some ring time in. Let's fix what you need to fix. You know, and I'm always about that. He's always making sure that, you know, I'm wrestling at my best. You know, I'm at my full potential.
So mentor. Would you say that Rick Vidal is your mentor?
Yes.
For sure?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's a guy, I mean, world's champion. You're listening to this guy. Obviously, you know, like you said, that would be your dream match to win the world title, would be off of Rick.
Yep.
So,
for sure.
So Rick has been a big part of your career as far as, what as far as, like, have you learned, man? As far, I mean, obviously you're going to learn, you know, from the moment you step through the curtain the first time and to the millionth time. But, you know, you're always going to find a guy or two that you're going to, you know, click with and link up to, and you're going to be able to pick their brain in the business. What has Rick taught you as far as where you are now to where you want to go, man?
So Rick has taught me, you know, he's taught me the basics of wrestling, you know, all the holds. He's taught me, you know, mental, you know, keep, you know, basically don't listen to your haters, you know, don't listen to them. But he's taught me how to be a better wrestler as well. He's still continuing to teach me, which I appreciate and love that so much, because this is my dream. This is what I want to do.
For sure.
He's taught me so much. I'm grateful.
That's the thing, man. Talking to you, I can tell you're obviously a very humble guy.
I try to be.
And I can tell that you're proud of where you've come from, and you're proud of where you're trying to go. And I respect that, and I appreciate the hell out of that. The fact that you just, because I know, I wouldn't be, or I wouldn't have been where I was in music, if had I not, given credit to where credit was due. And I love the fact that, you're able to come on this show and just be like, hey, man, look, this guy gave me a lot, and this guy helped me out, and he's continuing to help me out. And, the fact of the guy, the fact that the guy plays the heel role so well.
Oh, yeah.
That he's so hated. I mean, me as a fan, I'm thinking Damien DeVille won the world title. We all know that story, whatever.
Yeah, you kind of cried, didn't you?
A little bit, yeah, because I thought Ryan won the title.
I had
but
to, man. I had to.
I was like, man, really? Like, okay. I thought I was getting kayfabed, but I didn't. Thanks, Ryan, for always being too sweet and being honest with your brother. But yeah, man, like, I know, like, to come on, and because, like, the whole show, man, it's about, telling your story and things like that. Again, I think you're a very humble guy. I think you're a very sweet guy, and you just got this mindset of, like, look, this is what I want to do. This is what I've always wanted to do. And with that being said, man, what's that feeling like, man? I mean, you want to be a pro wrestler, and you're doing it, And we were talking earlier, the indies, I'm sorry, man, but WWE, I'm not quite a fan
I'd rather watch
nowadays.
indies.
I'd rather, dude, indies is where it's at, man. You support independent professional wrestling because, you never know when you're going to see one of these guys in a gymnasium, and you might see him on a SmackDown or a Dynamite. You never know, like, obviously, Ring of Honor is shutting down, or I think that's officially shut down.
I think so, too.
But, maybe you can't go there or whatever. But that's the thing, man. That's what I love about AEW. I know you and I were talking about that earlier. What I love about AEW is they bring in people who maybe a pro wrestling fan who knows who Hulk Hogan is and The Rock is and Stone Cold Steve Austin are. Maybe they don't know this guy, and you get a chance to check this star out, man or woman, And that's what I love about AEW. And I know you and I, again, we were talking about it earlier, and I just feel like AEW's doing everything right for pro wrestling. It's like a mixture of the best of the best. You know what I mean? Like, and their roster just keeps growing, but they keep growing, man. But I feel like it's done right. Every star kind of gets their time, or whatever. They're running on multiple shows. They got Dark, Dynamite, and then Rampage.
Yeah.
But every star is being rotated in. That's what I hate about WWE. They try to cram so many, a top 5 down your list, and then the rest of the people, don't matter. Like Zelina Vega, Tommy Inn's wife, I think she's awesome, man. She's one of the best women's wrestlers around. I mean, hell, man, she was in LAX back in TNA, man. The original LAX for the most part, But then it's just like, I just feel like people kind of get crapped on sometimes in WWE, where I feel like AEW just gives everybody a chance to shine. I mean, look at Jungle Boy. Who was Jungle Boy? I didn't know who I love pro wrestling. I didn't know who the hell Jungle Boy was. I didn't know who the hell Jack Perry was. I didn't know Luke Perry had a son who was a wrestler. I didn't know him and Luchasaurus were a tag team for that many years in the indies or whatever. But I became a fan because of AEW, man. So, what's your thoughts on how wrestling is today as far as televised wrestling? So, TNA/Impact, New Japan Pro Wrestling, WWE, AEW, NXT even. Like, where's your transition at? Like,
so wrestling today is a lot different than it used to be. There seems to be a lot more talk now than there used to be. Don't get me wrong, I like to talk too, but there's a time where you gotta let your actions speak. Actions speak louder than words.
For sure.
You don't always have to have a time for talk. Like, you don't have to have, like, the majority of a show talking. A lot of us just like to watch good old wrestling.
Thank you. Yeah.
I know I do.
WWE promos, man, they show highlight reels for the first 20 minutes of a Raw or a SmackDown. It's like, we done seen this.
Yeah.
You could have put on a great match for 20 minutes instead of giving us this.
Exactly.
So is that kind of where you're at as far as like AEW? Because I mean, you got to think, man, AEW, Dynamite, Rampage, Dark, they come right with the action.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they go right to the ring.
Like the moment the show starts, you got Taz Excalibur, Chris Jericho. We got all of them talking for like a brief, maybe
30
20,
seconds,
20,
you know what I
30
mean?
seconds, and then they kick it right off.
They might show you a highlight reel of 20 seconds for a match, and then you get this great 30-minute match. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get this whole... And I think that's where like WWE is failing for me. As a pro wrestling fan, for me, it's hard for my wife and I to sit and watch a Raw or a SmackDown or even an NXT now, and that's different reasons for me. But
which is hard because I loved NXT so much.
Loved NXT, the black and gold brand, man, dude. I mean, what Triple H and Shawn and William Regal were doing down there, and even Dusty Rhodes, and guys like that. Absolutely, man, the American Dream, one of the greatest of all times. But what those guys created, you know, like you and I were joking on my couch earlier, when you think about the original NXT, it was pretty much a damn...
Tough enough.
Yeah. I mean, it was like American Gladiators of wrestling. You know, they were doing all these dumb skits and dumb things, and then Triple H was like, hey, let me run with it. And, you know, Undisputed Era was probably the greatest thing to ever come out of NXT.
You had Red Dragon,
man.
Adam Cole, eventually.
One of the best tag teams in the world right there. I know you and I were talking on my couch earlier before we started filming. Top 3 favorite tag teams, man. I mean, Red Dragon's number 2. I mean, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. You just can't. Man, titles everywhere. And I'm just waiting for the titles in AEW. Like, I do want to go here really quick. Speaking of WWE and AEW, I want to ask, what are your top 3 current WWE guys?
Current WWE guys? Top has to be Roman Reigns.
Absolutely, yeah. Has carried the company. Who would have ever thought 2 years ago guys would have been talking about Roman Reigns like carrying a company or being the top guy? But Roman, like you and I were talking again earlier, Roman has become what Roman was meant to be.
Exactly.
And he is the best in the business right now for WWE. Like, that's their guy. So Roman Reigns is number 1.
Second would have to be Seth Rollins. I'm a big Seth Rollins
Architect, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm digging the whole... I love what he's doing.
Oh, yeah. Just the...
He's just being cocky and just the flashy clothing. I love it.
He's the drip god.
He's the drip god. You know the one thing, man, I wish that he would have never quit on? I loved it so much. And it was such a small thing, small little detail that he did. And then when I found out why he did it, because he had the broken fingers, he wore the one glove.
Yeah.
I love the one glove. I thought the Messiah thing was the best. I mean, dude, you went from the architect, you went from the Shield to the architect.
To the Messiah.
Man, to the drip god, dude. And now, I don't even know what the hell he is now. He's just... I don't know. I love the big puffy coats and just all that. I know my wife's a huge, big-time Bex fan. 2 belts, Becky, man. I mean, Becky 2 belts, whatever you want to call her. Yeah, Seth Rollins. Love Seth Rollins, man. So, that's two-thirds of the Shield right there. So, we got Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins.
Third, I'm a big AJ Styles fan. Big AJ Styles fan.
How can you not be?
Oh, my fiance is not a very big AJ Styles fan.
Really?
I give her so
So
much
he doesn't
crap.
like, she's just not, she's just like, nah, I just
she
don't want to do
likes
it.
some of the stuff he does, but she's not all about him. Like, she's more about Roman Reigns than AJ Styles, which you know, Roman Reigns, but she also looks at him a different way, too.
True.
She's got the hots for him.
So, I mean, got them wolf eyes and them long black locks, man. I mean, you know, like, speaking of AJ, let's talk about AJ really quick, because I want to segue into AJ, Punk, and Omega. If I built a Mount Rushmore right now, it would be AJ Styles, Kenny Omega, CM Punk, and Bryan Danielson. If it was current. But I do want to say, nothing against Bryan Danielson, but I do want to segue into, again, Styles, Punk, and Omega. Triple threat match. Who do you have? You're throwing your money on the match. You and your buddies made a bet. Who you got?
I'm going with the sweeper.
You're going Kenny.
Kenny Omega.
I'm going to sweet you to that. Because, I'm sorry, boys and girls. I love CM Punk. He is the best in the world. I will give him that. But so is Bryan Danielson, and so is AJ Styles, and so is, or not CM Punk, obviously I already mentioned him, best in the world, but so is Kenny Omega. Best bout machine.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, I have watched Kenny and Okada, both matches, so many times, and I've gotten so many people into that, because they're like, man, what's your favorite match? And I'm like, current or old school? And they're like, current. And I'm like, Kenny Omega and Okada, 1 or 2. I don't give a damn which one you put. They went over 90 minutes, both matches.
Oh, yeah.
And where I want to go with this is the reason I want to segue into AJ Punk and Omega. And I'm glad that you said Omega because that's where my heart lied between the three. Omega, man, gone right now. When the cleaner comes back, when he comes back, who's the top guy, man, that you want to see him face? I mean, he's faced a lot, Danielson, he's faced Mox, he's faced Hangman, obviously. I love the fact that he put Hangman over Bullet Club.
Oh, yeah.
Kenny was hurt. Did not know that.
I didn't either.
And that was the thing. When I was live streaming your guys' Thanksgiving meetings, I was also watching AEW's pay-per-view. And I did not know till the next day that Kenny was wrestling with so many injuries. He could barely lift his arm the day of the pay-per-view. But when I watched that match back the second time with my wife, I didn't know he was hurt that bad the first time. Then when I knew that he was hurt that bad the second time I watched it, I'm like, he didn't even show it.
No, he did not.
He didn't even show it. Like, the dude can't lift his arm, but he's holding a 10-pound title up. He's doing his, bang, whatever, Kenny Omega, man, I mean, let's go here. Let's take AJ out of it.
Okay.
Because if I think of the best in the world, I think of CM Punk. Because he has stood behind that moniker. When I think of the best bout machine, nobody's better than the Terminator, Kenny Omega, in my personal opinion right now. No one's going to out-wrestle that guy. Because the longer the match goes, the better Kenny gets. Kenny Omega, CM Punk, who you got?
Kenny Omega versus CM Punk? Oh, man.
In their prime right now, as far like where Punk is right now, take the 7 years out. Let's say Punk wasn't gone for 7 years. He continued to do, because he did train for UFC and stuff like that. Let's say we put a 95-minute time limit on it.
That's gonna be a great match.
Who's going over?
A lot of
best
awesome
of 3.
wrestling.
Let's do that. Best of 3.
Man, I'm not.
First pinfall goes to who?
I love CM Punk. Kenny Omega's gonna get the first one.
Okay, so you're going Kenny for the first. Babyface by hook or by crook? You got a cough on that one? You got yeah. See, it's kind of like that's Bullet Club right there. Like he's going by crook.
So he will go by crook.
He'll go by crook. He's holding the rope or something.
Oh yeah.
Hold the tights, something.
Or hey ref, look over there.
Right, and then Young Buck super kick Punk or something, or Brandon Cutler sprays the cold spray in the eye. It's happening.
Yeah, it's going to.
So Punk goes second then, or is it a clean sweep, man?
I'm gonna say Punk will get the second.
So Punk gets second. Who's coming out on top?
Omega.
Yeah.
I think Omega will.
7 years ago, I would have argued that.
Oh yeah, me too.
But now, I look at pro wrestling for what it is, and I like pro wrestling. Kenny Omega, I went on record many of the times. My wife, she hates the fact that I play the song over and over. I play the shit at work because it pumps me up, man. But I play Call to Personality too because it pumps me up.
I don't cry.
I liked it before Punk had it. I love In Living Color. You know what I mean?
Me too.
But yeah, man. When it came down to it, and it's funny because the reason I asked you that is because my wife Emmy asked me that one day. She said it was actually the night my little brother was over here, and it was the night of Punk's return, and they have heard me for most of their life saying CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. And then Punk was gone. And I was like, well, I need another best in the world. I didn't find a best in the world. I found a best bout machine. I found the Terminator, Kenny Omega. And Kenny Omega to me is, I was a fan. Thought it was awesome. When he came to Bullet Club doing the whole junior division, I thought that was great. And then became leader of Bullet Club. And then obviously AEW and the Elite and stuff like that, and the Super Click and all that stuff. Kenny Omega, man, when she asked me that, she was like, well, babe, Punk's back, so is he still the best in the world, or are you going to go with the best bout machine? And I was like, oh, that's fucked up. I mean, dude, that wrecked my life. I never thought I'd been at, because, hey, Shane, is CM Punk better than Bryan Danielson? In my opinion, and he is. Hey, is he better than John Cena? Yeah, he is, of course. Is he better than The Rock? Absolutely. Shouldn't have lost the 434 either. But anyway, like, yeah, when she asked me that, man, it blew my mind, because I was like, damn. That's like asking me if, like, Macho Man is better than Shawn Michaels.
Oh, yeah.
Or is Shawn Michaels better than Ric Flair? Is Ric Flair better than Shawn Michaels? I had to sit there, man, and had to think, and it took me a good minute, and I was like, man, gotta go Kenny Omega.
Oh, yeah.
And I just had Terry last night ask me at work, he said, hey, when Kenny and CM Punk match up, where you going? I was like, I gotta go Kenny Omega. I gotta go Kenny, man. I gotta go Kenny. It's hard, but I gotta go Kenny. Speaking of Punk, obviously, hottest return in pro wrestling right now. I don't think anybody is bigger than... I'm not a fan of the super baby face CM Punk, but, you know, whatever.
Hell, he bought a whole
packed
house.
Ice cream bars. Well, you know, because Vince couldn't give it to him, and Punk was like, well, I'll give it to him. But biggest return in pro wrestling, CM Punk. Agree?
Agree.
I mean, is there really more of an anticipated return? Hogan doesn't hold a candle to that. Savage didn't hold a candle to that when he went to commentary and returned to wrestling. You know what I mean? It just... The Rock's returns, you know, Cena's returns, Taker's returns.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Like, don't get me wrong, they were all good.
Yes, absolutely.
But with CM Punk, you know, he was gone seven years.
Never said he would never wrestle again.
And everybody loved him.
Sold out an arena on a rumor. You know what I mean? Like, so, before I ask the next one here, let's do this. Top 3. You can go current, you can go prime, you can go old school. AJ Styles, CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega. Where are you putting them at?
Kenny Omega's going to go top.
Okay.
CM Punk's going to go second. I'll put Bryan Danielson third.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Him and Hangman on the last time
that was phenomenal.
tore the house down. Tore the house down.
Man,
60-minute bell to bell. I know you and I were talking about it again before we filmed. Bell to bell. Man. Let's go, with that being answered, before we start winding this down a little bit here, I want to go into, I know I asked you about your future plans, obviously, because, you know, you talked about being, you know, in a match with Rick Vidal, traditional match. We talked about DX and Bullet Club and the Horsemen and our favorite factions. I want to go back to one of the first questions I asked, again, as you start winding this down. Going back to the mask, are there any plans that maybe you thought of, any plans that you have going forward? Where I'm going with it is there ever going to be a career versus mask match, a hair versus mask match? Is there ever going to be a time that you want to put your mask on the line? Are you ever comfortable enough to where you're going to be like, you know what? Hey, if you want to bet your hair against my mask, or you want to bet your career against my mask, I'll put my mask on the line, because obviously the mask is important to you. So you respect the Lucha Libre style and the Lucha Libre. Because like I said, man, again, you know, those guys only take that mask off for certain people.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that you're in it all the time, and the fact that I've seen your face and I know what you look like, I respect the fact that I've only seen you twice now without the mask. So again, you play into that mask so much because it means something to you. So would you ever go into I know you mentioned Rey Mysterio earlier, would you ever go into a Rey Mysterio-esque style match putting that mask on the line, maybe against hair, Scott Hall, Rey Mysterio, hair versus mask, or career versus mask? Is that something that you would ever think about or thought about?
If it came down to it, I'd put my mask on the line.
You would?
Just for that extra drive. You know,
Okay.
I love the mask.
So as extra drive, you're meaning like that's going to give me extra oomph to get out there and like I'm winning.
Oh yeah.
Who would you? Okay, let's do, because I asked a two-part question. So you would put your mask on the line. So let's ask this question. Let's branch off. Who would you put your mask on the line against in a hair match? Let's say it's hair versus mask. Who's the guy that you're like, I'll shave you bald?
I'm gonna say Brody.
Really?
I may not win that. Brody will probably end up beating me, but
that's a gold standard.
I would totally love.
So you would go Brody's
hair.
Okay. Brody Bodkins. You heard it here. Maybe in the future, mask versus hair.
Maybe, if it came down to it.
Career versus mask.
Oh,
whose career would you want to end? Because I know in wrestling, and before I ask you this, I know in wrestling, some wrestlers pick who they want to be their last match, and other wrestlers go to people and be like, "Hey, will you be my last?" So who's that guy? Because we're talking career. They're never going to wrestle again. They're never stepping between them three ropes, getting that squared circle. You're putting your mask on the line, but you're going to take someone's career to keep that mask. Who would come to you, or who would you go to take their career? I mean, it's the career.
It is a career. You're putting me in a tough spot here. But
I told you I was going to keep it fun.
Man, I'm going to say...
And this is why I love the reactions.
I'm going to say, in a mask versus career, I don't want to end this gentleman's career, but if it came down to it, and he came to me, Rick Vidal.
Really? Okay.
I would love, he was my first ever match.
Okay.
I'd love to be his last ever. Exactly. I'd like to maybe be his last ever match.
Student, pupil takes out the teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So would it be a whole assassination thing where it's like, my mask is on the line, your career is on the line, sorry, I'm keeping my mask?
It would be more of...
Or is it more respect, where it's like, winner takes all, you know what I mean? Like...
There'd definitely be some respect there. It'd be more like Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels.
With I'm sorry, I love you.
Yeah. Is that a moment that you would want, as far as like knowing that you're ending your friend's career, someone that has taught you and respected you? Would that be a moment for you, as far as like, I'm sorry, I love you?
It would totally.
Would that be that moment?
It would be.
As you're pinning him, are you like, hey man, I'm sorry, I love you, thank you though? You know what I mean? Is it that like where it's like, man, I'm pinning him, I'm gonna let him know like, hey man, thanks for letting me get the 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. Is that what it is?
It would definitely be like a heartfelt moment, I believe. Like, it would definitely be an I'm sorry, I love you, thank you for everything
kind of moment.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like as a guy, like I know nothing against women like that. Like I know they cry during movies and stuff like that, and like that's just raw emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Then it takes, and that's the thing about raw emotion. It takes something that means something to you to trigger your emotions to get you to react a certain way. I know, going back to the Shawn Michaels Ric Flair thing, I do think it was tainted because Flair did come back and Impact and TNA and stuff like that. Exactly. I think Flair should have done what Shawn did and had the respect for Taker. Mm. Now, granted, Shawn did come back bald, by the way, which was fucking terrible. But he was facing Taker. Mm-hmm. Maybe that was a mutual agreement. Hey, I'll wrestle one more match, but it's going to be against the guy that took me out. You know what I mean? That's how I look at the respect factor of it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, when it came to the Flair and Shawn match, yeah, I mean he's a gift. He's a meme. He's this. He's that. But that was a moment where it's like, that was real, man. I mean, anybody who followed that storyline, because obviously Vince put Flair in a storyline like, your next match, you're gone. And Flair kept coming back and kept beating the next one, kept beating the next one. And then you're facing arguably the greatest wrestler
Mm-hmm.
and sports entertainer of all time, Shawn Michaels. The best in-ring performer of all time, in my opinion. I don't think anybody tops Shawn when it comes to the ring. Shawn was the guy that Ryan and David and Travis and Steven and Jordan, all of us, Jordan, rest in peace, brother, man. We miss you so much. I think about you quite often lately. Much love to the Aacw family. But going back to that, yeah, man, like, we all idolize Shawn. I mean, Shawn was the guy, man. He was our generation's guy.
The showstopper.
The main event, the Heartbreak Kid, man, Mr. WrestleMania, Mr. Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? So, with that being said, Shawn Michaels, I won't even ask you. I'll just ask this. Arguably the greatest of all time, Shawn Michaels.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the GOAT to you?
The GOAT? So...
Because in basketball, to me, Michael Jordan. I'm sorry, Terry. LeBron sucks. I don't give a shit.
LeBron
Michael
does
Jordan,
suck.
He's a crybaby.
He is.
Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time in basketball. I love Larry Bird. I love Magic Johnson. I love Bill Cunningham and all those guys. But, man, there's only one guy that can be the GOAT in Michael Jordan of basketball. That was it.
It's funny you say that.
So who is
because
yours
I also believe that Michael Jordan's the guy in NBA. But this is coming from a Celtics fan, too. And I love Larry Bird as well.
Yeah.
But
he wasn't on that Michael level, though.
no.
So, with that being said, because you mentioned Bird and you mentioned Jordan, so let's talk about Shawn and Flair.
So I love Flair. I love Shawn. Both of them would be considered the greatest of all time.
Of their eras or whatever, but when you're thinking all-time, all-around performer...
I'm going to go Shawn Michaels.
Yeah. It's hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure you'll leave this set later and you'll be like, think on that question. Because I think on that question every day, whether I'm cooking or I'm eating or I'm at work or something, I always be like, man, the GOAT though, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair. Man, I gotta go Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
I have to, man. I mean, they were so similar into what they did. The ladies loved them. The guys hated them. They were flamboyant. You know, they were flashy. The things that Rick did on the mat were great. Mm-hmm. But Shawn could do that too. But Shawn could do what Flair couldn't do. Mm-hmm. And that was fucking high fly, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, Shawn, like... I had a guy ask me... I won't mention his name. But I had a buddy ask me the other day... and I don't mention his name because he don't like being mentioned on stuff. But,
I got friends like that, too.
Sorry, buddy. Too sweet. But he asked me the other day, I was at work, and he texted me and he said, hey man, I'm sitting here, I was watching this old school Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart documentary. He's like, I know you're a big Shawn guy. He was like, man, who's the greatest of all time? I know you're going to say Shawn Michaels, but think about that question. Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair? And I was like, don't have to think about it, it's Shawn Michaels. Like, the dude has done everything. First televised, well, technically not the first televised ladder match. There is that hidden gem with Brett and shit.
Oh man.
I want to say, oh my god, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. Damn, I should have done my research a little better. But it wasn't the first televised match, but the Shawn and Scott Hall / Razor Ramon two ladder matches, Mania 10 and then SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. Changed the game, obviously, for ladder matches. But Shawn's the king of the ladder match. First ever Hell in a Cell winner. Mm-hmm. Two-time back-to-back winner of the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. When he won it in 95, I lost my shit.
Oh.
Like,
I went back because I was born in 96, but I'm a student of the business. I've done research from 60s, 70s, even 1800s over wrestling. And, I went back and I watched the Royal Rumble from 95 and it was amazing.
Dangling. You know, a funny story. You can ask Ryan about this too, Damien DeVille. Mm-hmm. he had ordered the pay-per-view, and for whatever reason, at that time in my life, I couldn't get, maybe I was grounded or something, I don't know, but I couldn't get to his grandma's house with David and Travis and him to watch the Rumble, and he always taped them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going into school that Monday, and Ryan had brought me the tape, and he's like, hey man, you know, because back then we didn't have text messaging,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was like a Tuesday or something. And I already knew Shawn had won because I'd watched Raw that night or whatever. But I remember I hadn't seen the Rumble yet. And Shawn was my guy. And I remember, I think it was like a Tuesday or Wednesday, Ryan had brought the recorded VHS tape in to me. And he was like, hey, here you go, man. Like, here's the pay-per-view. And I was like, cool, man, I appreciate it, you know, kind of thing. And I remember going home and I remember watching that. And obviously, again, like I said, I knew Shawn won.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he won and coming at number one and just that was the development of what Shawn was going to become. And I felt like Dolph Ziggler was the second coming of Shawn Michaels.
Oh,
and I felt like Dolph has just been shit on and shit on and shit on. I'm loving the whole Dirty Dogs thing with Robert Roode. I'm really digging that.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, man, yeah, Shawn Michaels is the greatest of all time. I got to go on record and say that now. Like, I don't think anybody could out wrestle Shawn. I don't think anybody could outdo Shawn as far as, you know, WrestleManias. You weren't outdoing Shawn. I mean, hell, you know, he was the white clothed version of the Undertaker during their feud. To me, my buddy who asked me who was the greatest the other day. Again, name not mentioned because I know you don't like that. But he asked me, he was like, man, what would you say was the greatest wrestling match of all time in your opinion? Hands down. It used to be Shawn versus Bret, WrestleMania 12 Iron Man match. Mm-hmm. Now and forever, for WWE anyway, it will always be Shawn versus Taker 1.
Yep.
Because that was the first time at WrestleMania 25 that I legitimately thought the streak was in jeopardy. Mm-hmm. Do you remember watching that one?
I do.
Do you remember, like, the feeling in your gut and your heart, and you're like, is it over? Is Shawn gonna be the guy that, like, Shawn should have been the guy?
He should. To be honest,
who was the guy? Lesnar?
It was Lesnar.
See, and I'm just like, you don't need that. You're Brock Lesnar. You don't need to be that guy. Roman, I've seen people say, well, maybe Roman should have been the guy. I'm going to say,
it should have been Shawn.
If it wasn't Shawn, it should have been Punk. Mm-hmm. Because that storyline with Punk, dude, dousing himself with the ashes of the urn and just making the urn a joke and all that crazy stuff, dude. Like, I thought if it wasn't Shawn, it should have been Punk. Shawn Taker 2, career versus streak. Not a fan of that match. Too many finishers. It just felt too... What can we do that we haven't already done in this match? The feeling was gone. Shawn couldn't beat him the first time. He ain't beating him the second. That's just all there is to it. Like, that's how I felt. I did watch it live, you know, but I was like, yeah, Shawn's losing. I'm sorry. Like, if Shawn was going to win it, he would have won it the first match. But I do want to ask, really quick, because I'm a huge fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I'm a huge fan of death matches and hardcore matches. I love extreme wrestling. I want to ask you... I want to say a triple threat match. King of the Death match. Terry Funk, John Moxley, and Darby Allin. I feel like you get a little old school, you get a little middle, and then you get a little new. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Funk, the old Funker, Mox, and Allin.
I like all three.
Because all three of those guys don't give a flying fuck about their damn bodies. They could care less. Like... Who you got? Triple threat match.
So they're all good. They're all amazing when it comes to that match.
Let me double ante really quick for you answer. Funk, Mox, Allin, triple threat elimination. Anything goes, man. Death match.
Oh,
who you
man.
got?
So I love Funk. He's gonna get eliminated first.
Okay.
I feel like Darby and Mox would team up on him for a bit, get him out of there. And it's gonna get crazy. being Mox and Allen. It's gonna get very crazy.
Allen doesn't care.
No.
Follow that guy's career for the last couple of years, and I'm like, oh my god.
Oh yeah. I say Mox. Mox winning.
Mox going over?
Mm-hmm.
Who eliminates Funk?
Allen. I'm gonna say.
Really? I was expecting Mox. Okay.
So I'm
How's
gonna say,
Allen eliminate Funk?
So Mox hits the paradigm.
Okay.
Then Darby gives Mox the boot. Coffin drop.
Okay. So the old Rochambeau in a way where it's like, you do the dirty work, I'm going to throw your ass out and call it a day.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So Allen eliminates Terry Funk then.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So you're going to go John Moxley in a death match with Funk and Allen. Okay. Cool.
What about you?
Shit. I gotta go Funk, man. I
Go
gotta
old
go
school.
Terry Funk, man.
Go
Like,
old school.
that son of a bitch don't quit. That son of a bitch is his brain is so dead. I don't think that man understands what pain is. Like, I would say Funk would eliminate Moxley right off the bat. Not like right off the bat, you know what I mean? But if Moxley was getting eliminated, I would say the Funker would give that stiff Texas pile driver through like a barbed wire C4 lit table on fire, you know what I mean, off the apron style thing, put fucking Moxley down. If I had to say the finish of the match, I think Funk. The reason I eliminate John is just because I know John and Funk could do a one-on-one, and I think John Moxley to me is the new Terry Funk, ZZW. Crazy stuff, Zalzals across the forehead, stuff like that. Insane stuff. Moxley's obviously not as scared to bleed. I love John Moxley. He was always my pick for the Shield. I know a lot of people were like, oh, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns. I'm like, no, John Moxley. Like,
and it's not
Dean Ambrose.
It's
No,
Moxley.
Because I knew that guy before, the Shield, and I'd followed his career through ZZW.
My fiance even calls him Dean Ambrose. I'm like, no,
that's John Moxley. Like, he's always been Mox. But finish of the match, man, I would say that obviously Funk would win. Funk would eliminate Moxley through, like I said, this like violent death trap of something. You know what I mean? I think Funk would beat Darby on a fucking roll up.
Oh really?
Yeah. I think he'd put him through some glass tubes, and then Darby would come back from it and be like, shove, whatever. Let's get this. And then I think Darby would get cocky, and I think Funk, even at 60, 70 some years old, I think Funk would roll his ass up and he'd pull the trunks and whatever. And then by pull the trunks, I'm talking ass cheeks out, because that's Funk. You know what I mean? If he's gonna grab the trunks or the tights, he's pulling them up.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely go Funk. King of the Death Match. The reason I didn't put Foley in that as like a fatal four-way was just because I don't think you can really put Foley in anything and Foley not win. I love Funk, man.
Oh yeah.
I got a sticker of him on my truck and stuff like that. Funk U University and all that. But Mick Foley, it's Mick Foley. He's king of the death match.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't think there's anybody who's wrestled death matches, whether you're Japanese pro wrestling or you're Lucha Libre, AAA Mexico wrestling, or you're American wrestling or Australian wrestling. Mick Foley.
Oh yeah.
Mick Foley's always going to be the top guy of deathmatch. To me, Terry Funk would be 2. John Moxley would be my 3rd. But I didn't put Foley in there just because I just feel like it's disrespectful to even put Foley in that, because it doesn't give the other guys a chance, in my opinion. Like, it's fucking... When you get your ear ripped off and you don't want it sewn back on, hey man, whatever to me.
And when you fall, 30, 40 feet up?
Oh my god, Hell in a Cell. You want to... Okay, so what... While we start winding this down, oh man, dude, goddamn, yeah, we can talk about Mick Foley all day. Hell in a Cell, man. Again, I know. Let's go back to Shawn Michaels, first ever Hell in a Cell winner. Obviously Kane debuted, sure, but Shawn still won. Whatever. So there's that. Better rocker.
Yeah.
But
forget Jannetty.
But with Foley, man. Oh my God. I remember watching that with my buddy Chuck Balderas at his house. He lived down the street from me and he had ordered the pay-per-view, King of the Ring, and we were watching that and oh my God. I thought, can we just go on record and say Jim Ross is the greatest commentator of all time? Jim Ross, like when I'm like 15, 16 years old and JR is calling commentary with Lawler, and the way that JR sold it, he was like, by God, he killed him. He broke him in half. I thought he was dead because JR made me believe that so much that like you never seen a dude hum that far, you know, and not to mention the fact that Foley had so many injuries, you know, dislocated shoulder, being thrown from the cell, and then he punctured his, I think it was his kidney or his lung. But the fact that the man climbed back up because the match was only like at that point like what 5 minutes, you know what I mean? To go in there and, you know, do what he did. Mad respect to Mick Foley, man. Hell in a Cell. Shawn and Taker will always be my number one just because Bad Blood was so badass. Like, that was such a good pay-per-view, and it led up to Shawn and Taker. And then, obviously, Kane debuted. But King of the Ring, when they did it, man, dude, Shawn and Taker and then Taker and Foley are like, it's so hard to pick between that because I respect Foley for the fact that the dude got up and got off that fucking gurney, man. He was like, no, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to wrestle, you know, like, that match was over 5 minutes in, you know, like, and here's Foley like, I've been worse, whatever. And then the fact that the injuries that he's, you know, sustained throughout that match were, you know, the classic him sitting in the corner smiling with the tooth, his bottom tooth went through his upper lip, in his nose, like, you know, classic things like that. Another hardcore guy, extreme wrestler that I love, because I love ECW. I was a huge ECW, old school ECW fan. Loved the Dudleys when they did the tie-dye, and I know Christian and Justin and I, shout out to Christian Cash, too sweet brother, to Dynamite Justin Terrell, too sweet brother.
Love you guys.
But I told them, I was like, man, if you guys ever win the tag titles, I want to see a 3D and I want to see the old school Dudley stuff. And then of course they win the tag titles and they're in the tie dye and I wasn't there and I was like, that fucking sucks. But yeah, man, as we wind this shit down, dude, it's been a fucking pleasure.
Oh, it's been fun.
I do gotta ask you really quick. I know we spoke briefly on my Mount Rushmore pro wrestling of current. My old school, I don't really care about it. You know, I got my guys and it is what it is. But I have to ask you really quick. Let's go here. Mount Rushmore, old school.
Old school?
You got 4 guys, man. Who's on that? Man. Who's on that mountaintop? Who's on that cliff?
Dusty Rhodes.
Gotta go Dusty.
Ric Flair. Let's see here. Man. It's a tough one.
So Dusty and Flair.
Man, Bret Hart. Of course, Bret Hart's got to go there.
Absolutely.
Ricky
Excellence
Steamboat.
of execution, man. Ricky Steamboat? Really?
Yep.
Really? Gonna go the Dragon? Wow. Okay. Really?
Yeah.
So you're going Flair? You're going Dusty, Flair.
And then Bret Hart.
Bret Hart and the Dragon. Ricky Steamboat. Really? Man, I like that, man. That's cool. That's
little name that you hear much of.
You don't hear a lot of people talk about Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, man. But he was good, was he not?
He was amazing.
He did a lot of good. Him and Flair's stuff was, I don't know, oh my God, that was like Dusty and Flair in a way.
Oh yeah.
Man, much respect to that for the fact that that's like hearing Eddie Guerrero's name, rest in peace. But that's like hearing Eddie Guerrero's name, man. Like, okay, current.
Current?
Mount Rushmore, current. Any company, it don't matter.
We're gonna go Omega, AJ, Danielson. Man, I can go multiple with the 4th one. Let's say I got to Punk.
Run that back one more time. So we got Omega.
Omega, Danielson.
Yep.
Punk. Man, every time it's something
right?
different.
Yeah, it's hard. That's why I was like, run it back one more time. Like,
there's too many.
so
AJ
Omega,
Styles.
Punk,
AJ Styles.
Omega, Punk, Styles, and Danielson.
Yep.
Man, you're you're like right where I'm at. Like when it comes to that, I mean, it's just. Before we close this out, let me ask you one more thing. What has the pandemic? Because I know obviously the pandemic's starting to wind down.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully.
But thankfully, yes. And I work in the medical field, so I know like every day I wash my hands and whatever. Maybe I believe in COVID, maybe I don't. That's my personal opinion. But I do wash my hands every day because I work in a hospital, and I wash my hands every day before I come home. And then I wash my hands when I get home because I ain't trying to pet my dog and my cats and touch my wife and my kid, whatever. But when it came to the pandemic of wrestling, wrestling was different, right? I mean, no crowd, like, you got to go out there, and obviously you're a pro wrestler, so my question is this. You ain't got no fans.
No.
Cheering you on or starting to chant. You're hearing every thunder of the mat when you strike it.
Mm-hmm.
You, your opponent, the referee. And on TV, the commentators, you hear them, but live show, you don't hear that.
Yeah.
So it's just you, your opponent, and the referee. How did you live through the pandemic as far as pro wrestling, watching it live on AEW? Because I remember Cody Rhodes coming out, and cutting a promo about, hey, we're here and we're going to do this or whatever. WWE did the same thing. Impact did the same thing. New Japan did the same thing. Where were you at, man, with the pandemic as far as...
So it was rough. Bunch of indie companies shut down.
Because obviously your company was just, it was done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I said, indie companies were like, well, can't do it.
Oh, yeah. Like, there was a time...
Sit at home.
Later on, after the shutdown, after everything started coming back, the crowd, couldn't be as big. So they had to cut back on how many people were allowed in the ring or in the building. They had to cut back on how many wrestlers they had for the show. I know there was a couple times where I was told, hey, we're not going to do your match. Too many people.
So your match was cut.
Mm-hmm.
How did that feel as far as being in the locker room, knowing that you're getting geared up for your match, and it's kind of like, hey man, we're sorry to do this, but
I knew
people,
before.
We gotta cut it. Like,
I knew like the day or so before, so I didn't even go.
Because I mean, like obviously, let's be honest. Like you get geared up, you find out who you're facing, you get geared up, you start thinking of ideas of what you're gonna do and how the finish might be or whatever. You know what I mean? You're playing kayfabe, and you're the baby face or the heel or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're all of a sudden you get to the show and it's like, hey, you guys aren't going on.
That's rough. That is.
What do you do?
So,
what did you do? Was it like, hey, I'm gonna hang out and watch the matches, and then I'm gonna go eat food and go home, or
so what?
Empty feeling?
It was like a couple days before that I got the word. I didn't even go because I was,
at that point it's like, what's the point? I mean, I'm not on the card. Like, I want to be there, but it's like,
if I'm getting booted from a match, I shouldn't even.
And I would have done the same thing for a show, because I've done that for shows when I play music. It's like, hey, you guys are off the card or off the lineup. Well, I'm not going then.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, depending on the band or the wrestler who are wrestling, you know what I mean? Like, depending on who it was, like, if that's my tight ass buddy, then I'm gonna go and be there. But I'm not really on the card or not on the lineup, and it's like, I'm gonna sit at home and do my thing.
Spend time with family.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, fuck, you don't really get a lot of time nowadays. Because let's be honest, man, brother, we gotta work multiple hours a day just to provide, and then you take every 30 minutes, an hour appreciation, and when you get to see, family, you know what I mean? Like, so the pandemic, obviously, it's starting to, dwindle down and stuff like that, but when you were watching wrestling, because I know for me, man, it was weird.
It was. Like,
I've never seen wrestling like that. The Thunderdome.
That was very weird. I didn't understand, like, at first I didn't understand, like, I'm like, why would somebody pay to have their face on a screen?
Exactly.
Being in
Yeah.
person's a
Yeah.
lot better.
You're not really doing anything, dude. Like.
Exactly.
Um.
You don't get the actual feeling. Just because I love watching wrestling. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But watching wrestling in person, 10 times better.
Oh, dude, for sure. Obviously, I saw a post where you went to the second coming of AEW. You know what sucks about that is when AEW first came to Indiana, which I love that, man. Man, we were like damn near front row, and it was awesome and everything. And then, funny story, behind the scenes, funny story. When AEW came in the second time here the last couple months, I set my alarm, and I was like, tickets are going on sale. Okay, I'm setting my alarm for 10, they're going on sale for 10. I literally got up, my alarm went off, I got up, and then I let my dog out, and I made coffee, and I came down here, and I sat here, right here in this chair, and I was like, about to order these tickets. 13 minutes later, the tickets were sold out. It was over. And then Ryan, Damon DeVille, hits me up, and he's like, hey, are you going to AEW Dynamite? And I was like, no, it's sold out. And he was like, no, they opened a new section because it sold out so fast. And I was like, shit, I don't have the money now. You know, but see, that's the thing, man. It goes back to like that working class where it's like, you bust your ass, you know what I mean? And that's the thing about wrestling. You go out there and you bust your ass. And people need to appreciate the fact that, here's what I've always loved about pro wrestling. You go out there, for example, man, you don't know. Yeah, you're walking out to that ring. You don't know if you're going to walk back to that curtain, man. You know, and I think a lot of people look at pro wrestling and they're like, oh, it's choreographed, it's pre-planned, whatever. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous sport.
But, like I talked to Johnny Crisis, you know, he went for that tope. And his kick pad caught that top rope, and I thought he squirted himself. And I literally did jump up because I was like, shit.
I remember saying that from the back, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's one of the moments, and that's the thing that people don't understand. They're like, well, pro wrestling is fake, it's pre-choreographed, blah, blah, blah. Pre-choreographed? 50-50 maybe. But is that move that you're doing going to go successfully? You don't know that. You don't know that. So, where you at with that, man, as far as...
So...
Are you ever scared, man? Because, see, man... Me talking about it terrifies me. You know what I mean? Because I love playing basketball with my kid in the driveway. I like to be able to move my legs.
So
move my arms.
How I look at it...
Are you nervous every time you go out there, man? Because that's the thing, man. You know? Creato, people need to understand. And that's the thing. You guys do need to understand this. These guys and girls are going out here, and you guys are putting your lives on the line, man. You don't know if, when you walk out if you're going to walk back. You're not guaranteed that.
Anything can
But you
happen.
entertain us. And I want you to know, man, from bottom of my heart, dude, I appreciate the fact what all pro wrestlers do. Whether you're WWE, TNA Impact, Ring of Honor, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AACW, I don't care, indie wrestling, WCWO, I don't care. The fact that you guys go out there and the fact that you guys put your bodies on the line, because that's the thing. You walk through that curtain, but man, you're not guaranteed to walk back through that curtain.
No.
And that has always been a big thing with me. And the fact that you guys go out there and you put your bodies on the line. And I've been in pro rings, and I know that bitch hurts. It sucks. That's a hard-ass ring.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I don't care what company you're in, that ring hurts. Like, how do you feel, man? Knowing the fact that every time you walk through that curtain, man, that...
We do.
Is the rush worth it, man?
Oh, yeah. I love the rush.
When you walk through the curtain and you get the chant.
I love it.
Is it worth it?
It's like a drug. You gotta get that fix, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
That adrenaline fix.
Absolutely. But you're okay with the fact knowing that every time you go out there, your health, your body, your mentality, it's on the line, man.
I do get a bit nervous, but in my opinion, it's just it's awesome. I mean, yeah, does it get scary every now and then? No.
Would
definitely.
you give it all up for a crowd pop?
Never.
Never?
Never.
Never?
If, you know, when I do,
Are you scared, man, when you walk through the curtain? And I'm only asking because, like I said, I'm a fan of pro wrestling, and I know I've dabbled in wrestling and stuff like that. And I've done stuff on trampolines, and I've done stuff in backyards, and I've done stuff in pro wrestling rings. It's scary when you do a moonsault because you're like, this could go wrong. You know what I mean? Like, but you do it because, you know, the couple moonsaults I've done off a garage or, you know, whatever in backyard wrestling or whatever, the people were cheering for it. They wanted it. It's like, but then you think, you're like, shit, this could go so badly. Is that a thought in your mind all the time? Like,
so, to be honest, I've never actually moonsaulted in a match. I've been tempted to, but I'm always nervous of, I don't want to Brock Lesnar myself.
WrestleMania, Kurt Angle.
That'd
Shoot, Star Press. Oh my God! I thought he snapped his neck.
Yeah,
I thought he was dead.
But that's what I'm so nervous about. Like, don't get me wrong.
Does that make you nervous?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just, I think we were talking about it earlier. Like, I don't do a whole lot of like
high
suicide dives or anything over the top onto the floor because I want to. I really do. But I've seen so many people catch their foot on a rope.
Yeah.
And drop on their head.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous. I don't got much in there, but still nervous.
Got enough to like know that like that's gonna hurt. But see, that's the thing, man. That was my point. As I promise we're closing this down. But I just want to go on record and say, man, from WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, NXT 2.0, Ring of Honor, all those wrestling companies, man, every time, I don't care who it is and what company you work for, the fact that you guys step between them ropes and the fact that you guys put your careers on the line, because that's the thing, a lot of people, like I said, going back to what I said, that's pre-choreographed or that's pre-planned or whatever. Sure, it is. We know the winners, we know the losers, whatever. But you go out there and one move could go wrong, and the life that you've been living for however old you are, it's over.
Oh yeah.
Like that. I think a lot of people need to appreciate the fact of pro wrestling is a sport. It is a true sport, and you know, again, like I said, man, you go out there, you put your life on the line, man. You put your career on the line. Like, you walk through that curtain, but you're not guaranteed to walk back through that curtain, you know? Like, you might be gunning out. You might be in an ambulance. Like, so, again, where I'm going with this is, as we close this down, from the bottom of my heart, to you and all the independent wrestlers and all the wrestlers in major promotions, I'm a huge wrestling fan, and my wife's a huge wrestling fan, and my son's a huge wrestling fan. We all appreciate everything that you guys do, and the fact that you go out there and you know that maybe, you know, it is what it is, man. The fact that you got there and you kill it, I appreciate that. So thank you for that.
We love your appreciation. That's exactly why we do it.
Yeah.
We do it for
and that's why it pops so loud, man. You know, this is awesome, or you deserve it chance, or whatever it may be. Like, the fact you guys go out there and you don't know, man, you know, and the fact that you guys are literally taking a chance to do your job that entertains us, shit, man, like, hats off to you guys, because I couldn't imagine, you know, half the stuff you guys do and taking the bumps that you guys take.
Some of them are rough.
As we close this down,
I do want to tell you one thing. Back to the people that don't appreciate it so much. People that are, it's so fake, blah, 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 blah.
But wrestling's
so
not fake.
No. Let me hit you in the face. You tell me, is that fake or is that real? Did you feel it or not?
I've taken chest chops and I've taken chair shots in backyard wrestling and stuff like that in my younger teenage years and stuff like that with David and Travis and Ryan, two sweet guys. Always shout outs.
I do remember giving Terry that shot.
Well, I mean, you and I was talking earlier when Rick Vidal hit me with that chest chop, man. I crucified myself, put my arms out, and he hit it. And I told you, and I will go on record, if he gave it all he had, it hurt like a motherfucker. If he gave me a little slack, It hurt like a motherfucker. I don't care if he gave it his all or didn't give it his all or took it easy on me. It still fucking hurt.
Oh, yeah.
And a funny joke is, which, trying to work this out, like, my plan is to take a chest chop from everybody on the roster of AACW, but I want to end it with Brody.
Oh.
And I want to take angel wings. I want the hands down on my back. I want Ryan. I want DeVille to be the first guy to give me the chest chop because I love him. But I want Brody to be the guy that gives me the angel wings.
Oh.
But no, I can't say that. When we were hanging out after that show and stuff like that, first time I saw you with your mask off too, by the way. When we hung out at that show and we were doing that, just kind of like just being kids, man. That's what I felt like. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, you guys are living your dream and like pro wrestling is awesome. The fact that you guys brought us in and were like, hey, we're going to do this, and hey, you guys want to do that, we'll do it, whatever. And we all, you know, my little brother Chris and Too Sweet Chris, my little brother Chris and Terry and Tanner, you know, man, we appreciated the fact that you guys brought us into the fold and, you know, was able to do that for us and stuff like that, because we know what you guys feel and we know what you guys do, you know, and people can say it's fake all they want, but it's not, you know. It's if a grown man, you know, takes this palm of his hand and he puts it on your chest and he slaps that, you're going to feel that, and I did feel that. So again, like I said, like I told you earlier, I'll go on record, you know, whether Rick Vidal gave it his all or he cut me some slack, either way, it hurt like a son of a bitch. I'm just letting you know, it hurt. Like, that's just what it is.
You took it like a champ, though. I know it hurt because, trust me, I've taken probably over 1,000 chops from Rick.
Yeah.
Not all at once, thank God. I don't think I'd be able to take that. But
no kidding.
Throughout 4 years, it's probably been about 1,000. Because if I mess up during training, do something, you know, if I mess up something that we both know that I can do perfectly, he will give me chops. Oh, he'll stop training for a second, give me a chop, boom. Oh, yeah, I'm not going to do that again.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of like live and learn, you know what I mean? It's like he's teaching you, man. It's been a pleasure.
It's been fun.
This has been awesome, man. I've seriously, I've looked forward to this episode for so long, man. I really have. Like, I've told so many people that I've been so on this episode for a while, and I think the conversation has been great. I do want to go here. I want to give you the opportunity. Camera's yours. Say whatever you want to say. Cut a promo. Any match you want to start. Whatever you want to do, man. The camera is yours.
I appreciate all the love and support out of all of my fans, all my family, all my friends. I'm going to say this. Damian DeVille, I love you, brother. But next year, I want that EEC championship. That's all I got to say.
Guys, with that being said, again, this is sWs. I would be a fool not to give a couple shout-outs. I always do that. So I want to start here really quick to Juan Garcia, Sr. I live in Marion, Indiana, so if you guys want the best Mexican and the best tacos in town, go see JC's Taco Shack. You can find them on Facebook. They got a full menu. They're located again in South Marion. You guys check those guys out.
Delicious.
I want to say a special shout out to my brother Wally from Wally and Linz's Flea Market. You guys can check them out on their weekly auction Saturday nights at 10 p.m. on Facebook through 24/7 Toy Collectors. I want to give a huge shout out to riotstickers.com. Joshua Grove, love you, brother. Thank you so much for making merch for me for the last 3-4 years. I appreciate that. I do want to say to my lovely wife, I love you, sweetheart, and thanks for always hitting record on the phone when you're here. Anybody that needs to get their hair done and all that good stuff, go find her on Facebook at Emily Timmons Shears Salon. You can check them out there, and she'll help you guys out. To the clique, Too Sweet motherfuckers, you know who you are. Ryan, Travis, and David. I love the fact, man, that we all talk every day, and I love talking wrestling with you guys, and you guys are my brothers. I want to give a shout out to AACW. I know you and I were talking earlier. Officially, I am the new interviewer for AACW, and the fact that, too sweet, brother.
Welcome to the family.
The fact that I'm a part of that family, man, that means so much. So to Shane Calcert of AACW and to everybody who supported sWs and, you know, this dream that I've been wanting to do, man, to AACW again, to Brody, to Travis, Gold Standard, too sweet, to Justin Terrell, to Christian Cash, to my boy Ryan Damon DeVille, to Knuckles, to everybody, man. Thank you guys for welcoming me in and making me feel at home, man. I'm super stoked to be a part of it. Last but not least, Super Click, maybe now known as the Wolves, Erica, Terry, and Tanner. I love you guys, and yeah. To my guests, the one and only AACW professional wrestler, Lucha Creato. Brother, we're going to do something a little different. I don't have black this time. Everyone's always signed in black. So I have red and blue. You're the first guy to sign in color. So, brother, your choice.
I'll take that red.
Right on. But yeah, man, to La Lucha Creato coming on the show, making the drive. Man, I appreciate the hell out of that. Thanks, brother,
I appreciate you having me on.
spending the time, man. It's been a
fun.
fucking blast, dude.
It's been
like,
awesome.
And as he signs at the table, we're gonna take this shot, and I'm gonna send you guys off with the 2 sweets. So. Well, brother. Opening shot, ending shot. Appreciate you, man. To Pro Wrestling, man. Thanks for doing what you do.
Thanks again for having me on.
Hey, absolutely, brother. Thank you guys for tuning in. This episode will go live Monday. With that being said, as I end it, that's just a little Scott Hall. 2 sweet.